Hi everyone again. I hope everybody's good right now. So our panels continue right now, and the new panel's topic is product manager and game design on large scoped projects. And our panelist is Mete Almalı and Fırat Baban. Please take a seat. Supergear's games from. The stage is yours, and good luck.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and paying attention to listeners. This is Fırat. I am the project manager of Supergear's games, and I have started into this industry as an indie game developer for PC. We were developing a PC game called Crawl Traces of the Lost Colony with 3 friends of mine. It was a point-and-click adventure game. We have published it on Steam, and we have managed to raise funds in the end of 2020. And after that, we have continued our startup for 1 more year after raising funds, and then we have ended it. Now I'm in Supergears. We are focusing on mobile racing genre, and we are developing a racing game called Racing Kingdom. And that's all from my side now.
Hi everyone, I'm Mete. I'm a 30-year-old person and 25-year-old gamer. I describe myself like that. I'm a game designer at Supergears Games, and my journey started on 2017 as a game designer. We were a couple of friends who were trying to develop PC games that never published. But in 2019, I had the chance to work on Medbyte Games, which produces Zula for PC game, you might heard of. After a 3-year-old journey, I started on a new journey in Supergears Games as a game designer. Supergears Games, founded by industry veterans, which is Yasin and Yakup Demirden. And our main goal is to create high-quality mobile racing game and create an IP called Racing Kingdom. So today's topic is product management and game design on large-scope project. So what is a large-scope game project? We can describe that the project that has high cost of development, marketing, and time. On top of that, the main goal is to get a high amount of user and high amount of activity for the user. Also, the revenue, of course. As you can see, we covered up some well-known large-scope games you might heard of.
Yep. So, what are the main fields of operation in a large-scope game project development? We have product management as the first one. It's very important for deciding on what your product is going to be and where you are going to allocate your game through genres and platforms. And it is nearly the heart of the whole production, since it's very important both during the production and after the development, because you need to grow your game, and this is where product management comes up again. And you can see it as an eye that is looking from above to the whole product. And the next one is project management. It's also my field in Supergears. And project management is very important, since it takes care of all the essential things for project to keep flowing. You may think of it as budget and financing, team management and allocation, and team management in project tracking in sprints with agile or whatever method you use, outsourcing for art, software, audio, music, localization, and there's a lot of work to do in this field too.
So yeah, the content is a broad term that I made up for game projects. If I break down that term, it has 3 main subjects, which is the first one is mechanics, which is it covers up for game mechanics, game systems. There is level design, and there is a story. So when complexity gets higher in those areas, the project drives to have a higher workload, and eventually it become a large-scope game project. And the technologies to be used in production and must be decided at the pre-production phase. The game engine, the software that you use on the sound, maybe for graphics, support programs, plugins, etc. These are all shaped up according to the needs, and needs shaped up according to the game system. So, for example, if we talk about the Tetris, you can make a Tetris game like with a 2D grayscale screen with 2 arrow buttons, but when we talk about a game like Red Dead Redemption, it has a lot of 3D props with high quality. You have to optimize them, and you have to build an infrastructure for multiplayer modes. You have to think about how AI behaves and how keyboard and mouse interacts in the game world. So, and the final one for me is the art. Art is another core discipline in game development, and aesthetic needs of the game will define how large your project is. Are you going to make a game with a 2D side-scroller game, or you want to make a 3D game with a lot of characters, animations in it, or you want to make the rhythm-based game for music? The answers that you make on those questions will define your project scope.
Yeah, and there's of course marketing. User acquisition through paid ad campaigns is very much likely everyone do recently, but a large scope project must succeed in organic marketing too. You need to acquire users organically, and this is only possible with a good marketing strategy. So we have prepared 8 tips for you, and they are mainly about our own fields, and we will try to cover them up quickly. And the first one is about deciding on your product. And one of the best ways of doing this is considering both the talents that you have and you can have, and the opportunities in the market. For example, you cannot think of making a blockchain or NFT game without a blockchain expert. Will you be able to reach those talents, or do you have that talent in your team? And or will you be able to finance it even if you can find those talents from outside? These are the important questions before you jump into making a large-scale or a very specific scaled project.
And yeah, the game like Zula is a great example for combining the talent and opportunity. Because back then, in the early 2010s, there were a couple of MMOFPS games, very successful, but Zula saw the opportunity that and make a better game with the for the low-end PCs, and then they become a leader of the market. And also another great thing that they did is they kept their talent in-house and kept them for years. And that lead to maintain their knowledge, their know-how, leads to maintain their leadership on the market. And in Supergears, we are a couple of talents who can produce high-quality mobile racing game.
Yeah, and the second one is about knowing your teammates. And this is also very important for project management too. Because you need to get to know your teammates better and better when the development goes on. You need to know their characteristics. What are they good at? What are they best at or bad at? And how you should communicate with them, how you should give feedbacks to them, or how you can get their motivation up. And this is very important because if you want to create a healthy working environment, you need to give importance to these topics.
And yeah, analyzing and benchmarking is another great methodology for understanding your game in place of the market. First thing you have to do is have a game in the mind and list down the related games that you might use their feature or something. Even if it's not your genre, you can find games that maybe suits perfectly for your game. you just list down the games and do the benchmark. How I benchmark the games are I list down the games and list down the features, maybe the mechanics, or it could be general things like graphical quality, sound quality, etc. After that, you benchmark it, and how I benchmark is like I put 5-star rate system for the benchmark, and when I did the benchmark, I can clearly see that what is common in related games and how can we do better about it. Also, what to avoid and how to minimize the risks. And yeah, writing down GDD can be a pain in the ass sometimes because you write down wall of texts with the unnecessary details in it, and also you might not be updated very well, and that leads to an uninterested GDD, and nobody really cares and reads it. So how can we make it more interesting? I started to categorize on the document, like I categorized features, I made bullet lists, and after that I put a lot of spreadsheets and flowcharts in it. You also need to make a room for the changes because things might change even in production phase. So you have to be prepared and make a room for them. Also, I suggest you keep your old GDDs because sometimes the idea that you have may not be useful for current situation, but on a future, maybe the idea fits perfectly for your game. I really suggest you that you can make versions of your GDDs, because if you are working on a project for a long time, it's really hard to find a specific mechanic or thing. So if you are doing versions of it, you can easily find it. And also, you might still think this is not interesting, but I have another technique that GDD for teammates. So my previous experiences show me that even if I wrote down my documents in a shorter sentences or adding bullet list and all, still not interested by my coworkers. So I started to add more visuals in it, and then I realized, I suppose you already know, that the artists and developers doesn't talk the same language. So my GDDs shouldn't be so. And then I separated my documents to, for me, for art, for development, and for backend. And I can give an example for it. Let's say I am writing down my level design document for an art team. I list down tons of reference images in it. I wrote down, draw a top-down sketch for a level, and I use abstract definitions for the for that GDD. Why abstract? Because I don't want to limit my artists' creativity. But for developers, of course, you have to be certain, you have to be direct, you have to use shorter sentences, and you have to use a lot of flowcharts. And after that, after that, when we are start to produce a feature, let's say, I have 4 documents to hand on. I have my GDD for a bunch of details in it. I have my art GDD, development, and backend GDD. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm back in the game, and you should build a network for everything right in the beginning. I mean, for network, you might think of everything that you might need during the development. Think of it as publishers, potential publishers maybe. For financing, possible funds and venture capitalists or outsourcing companies for a bunch of different brands in game development, or consultation, for example, or marketing associates, influencers. You need to have your network and get to know that people and add them on LinkedIn, as Liam Neeson says in Taken, and talk about them, talk about yourself and your amazing game project. So keep those relations alive and protect, and when you need those relations in your development, go find those people and take action about them. Yeah, and the seventh one is about testing. You should test your builds constantly. And I'm not talking about marketing tests, because a lot of people knows a bit about them in Turkish game industry. But I'm talking about in-house testing for bugs and detecting and overcoming bugs, and gameplay improvements. I mean play testing. So, for example, when we were developing Crowalt, after a certain stage of development, we were testing our game in a regular basis, and we were collecting all the inputs that we have found on a shared spreadsheet, and we were writing them down with their details, visuals, who must take action about them, or their priority. So everything must be saved, and the actions must be taken accordingly.
So yeah, as Fırat said, testing your game in-house is a great thing for purposes. When we are developing our Battle Royale game on Zula, it was a 1.5 year of development process. And we had a test session that occurs every day and a specific time. I remember that it was a 1 hour session. And as a game designer, it was a great opportunity for me, because in every day I can iterate my designs, I can change big or small things in it, and have a constant feedback for 30 to 40 people. Yeah, and that leads me to sharpen my designs, and that's a really good thing. And then you might think that testing your game every day might be time-consuming activity for the company, but it has a lot of beneficial. You have increasing the team cohesion, and give your team the ownership of the product. That's a very great thing to have. And I remember a lot of time we were discussing after the session with my artists and developers about my design choices, design changes, and how we can improve, what is wrong or right. And yeah, I suppose that you need to test your game frequently.
Yeah, so don't just add more HP, but test your game properly from a certain stage. And yeah, the final one is about marketing again. I talked about it a little bit in the fields of operation page in the beginning, but I wanted to state that again, because in large scope game development, it is very important. You cannot just rely on user acquisition through ad campaigns, and it's also very related with the sixth tip that I showed you, building networks. If you have built a strong network, then you will know where to go, who to partner up with, or who to cooperate with for marketing, and take actions about them. And also you should think about marketing while developing your game, because then you will get the chance to evolve your game into a more marketable way in game design manners. So you should definitely consider it. And yeah, that's pretty much it from our side, and we think that's how you can ride a wave to success, and in Supergears we are riding a wave to success.
And yeah, last thing is we are still looking for talented and ambitious people in the Supergears. So if you're interested, find us here. We will be here all day here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything, for all informations. We have a coffee break too, 5 minutes, and we will be here 5 minutes later. Okay? Thank you.